The espresso machine hisses, a sharp, metallic scream that cuts through the low-frequency hum of a dozen overlapping conversations. Steam clouds the air. People scramble for seats, tapping screens, checking watches, caught in the frantic rhythm of the city night. But at the corner table, near the window where the glass is cold to the touch, one person remains perfectly still. Outside, the city lights blur into streaks of neon gold and electric blue, rushing past like a river. Inside, the person does not look at a phone. They do not scan the room for an exit or a friend. They simply watch the steam rise from a ceramic mug, calm eye amid storm's rage. It is a quiet, deliberate defiance. Most people fear this silence, filling every spare second with noise to avoid the weight of their own thoughts. But look closer. This is not isolation. This is a choice. Why do some thrive in the void where others feel lost? We start here, in the quiet. Shift your focus now to a library at midnight. The air is still, held in place by rows of leather-bound spines and the scent of aging paper. A single lamp casts a warm, golden pool of light onto an open desk. Here, the silence is not an absence of sound, but a presence of thought. Psychology identifies this as inward processing. While the world outside demands constant reaction, the intelligent mind turns its gaze toward the internal landscape. Imagine a complex engine running in the dark. That is the brain at work. It is not resting, it is building. It runs simulations of future events, tests the structural integrity of every assumption, and maps out patterns that others miss in the blur of daily life. Every piece of information gathered during the day is being categorized, challenged, and refined. This is a deliberate, high-speed operation. In this quiet space, the mind constructs elaborate models of reality, questioning the fundamental rules that govern human behavior. It is a laboratory of the intellect. The silence is a canvas, and the thoughts are the paint, layering depth upon depth until a clear picture emerges from the void. This is where the most significant breakthroughs are born. Many mistake this preference for solitude as being antisocial, but there is a massive, fundamental difference between being lonely and being selective. Loneliness is a hunger for connection that remains unfulfilled. Selectivity is a hunger for depth that refuses to be satisfied by scraps. Picture two people at a small dinner table, sharing a meal under warm, intimate lighting. The background noise of the restaurant fades into a dull roar. One person begins a standard, polite inquiry about the weather or the commute, but the other gently steers the conversation elsewhere. They bypass the surface-level pleasantries that feel like static in their ears. They are not being difficult. They are being efficient. For the highly intelligent, small talk is a tax on their mental energy. It is a series of empty loops that offer no return on investment. When they choose to engage, they seek the marrow of a subject, the hidden motivations, and the raw truth behind the words. This is not arrogance. It is simply how their brains are wired to function. They do not avoid people. They avoid the exhaustion of shallow interactions that leave them feeling depleted. Now, step away from the dinner table and into the open air. It is the golden hour in a local park. The sun hangs low, casting long amber shadows across the grass. A single person walks the winding path, moving with a steady, unhurried rhythm. They are not isolated. They are recalibrating. For the intelligent mind, social environments act like a constant, high-frequency hum that drains their internal battery. Every conversation, every social cue, and every interaction requires a massive expenditure of processing power. This walk is the recharge station. Light gleams on dew, birds sing, wind whispers. They are not just walking, they are downloading the world. They take in vast amounts of raw data, allowing their brain to filter out the noise and stabilize its internal systems. This is a vital maintenance cycle. Without this time alone, the mind becomes cluttered, unable to distinguish between the signal and the static. By stepping into the quiet, they restore their equilibrium. They are not running away from life. They are sharpening their tools so they can engage with it more effectively. Now, shift the scene to a crowded party. The air is thick with the sound of overlapping voices, clinking glass, and the relentless beat of music. Most people are performing, projecting their energy outward to fill the gaps in the noise. But look closer. Near the edge of the room, there is one person who is not participating in the performance. They are watching. While others are busy talking, the intelligent loner is absorbing. They are not merely present, they are analyzing the architecture of the room. They notice the subtle tension in a person's jaw when they are interrupted. They pick up on the slight hesitation before someone answers a question, a flicker of doubt that the speaker tries to mask with a laugh. The observer does not need to speak to understand the dynamic of the room. They are reading the micro-expressions, the shifting body language. Because they spend less time talking, they spend more time processing. They are a silent sensor in a room full of noise, gathering data. They are documenting the human condition while everyone else is just trying to be heard. This is where the observer gains their true advantage. While others react to the surface, the intelligent mind is running high-speed simulations. They take the raw data gathered from a single glance, a tightened fist, a forced smile, a rhythmic tap of a foot, and they feed it into a mental model. They are not guessing. They are calculating. In the time it takes for a person to finish a sentence, the observer has already mapped out the likely intent, the underlying motive, and the probable reaction. It is a form of rapid pattern recognition that functions like a sixth sense. They see the trajectory of a conversation before it hits the wall. They anticipate the conflict before the voices rise. This is not intuition. It is the result of thousands of hours spent in silence, training the brain to decode human behavior with clinical precision. The wise see paths others miss. This is their superpower. They possess a depth of understanding that turns the chaos of social life into a predictable, manageable sequence. History does not belong to the loudest voices in the room. It belongs to those who dared to step away. Consider the giants who reshaped our reality. Einstein did not find his theory of relativity in a crowded lecture hall. He found it in the quiet solitude of a patent office, far from the noise of academic debate. Tesla did not map the future of electricity through group brainstorming. He sat alone, visualizing complex machines until they functioned perfectly in his mind. These breakthroughs were not accidents. They were the direct result of an environment stripped of distraction. When you sit at a desk by a rainy window, with a notebook open and the world muted by the glass, you are not wasting time. You are engaging in the same process that birthed the modern age. Solitude is the laboratory of the mind. When you choose to be alone, you are not retreating from the world. You are preparing to change it. In that silence, you are building the future. Now, look at where we are. The noise of history fades, and we are left with just you. Axel stands before you in this quiet, blue-lit space, and he is not talking about Einstein or Tesla anymore. He is talking about the way your pulse quickens when you finally find a moment of peace. If you have spent your life feeling like an outsider, stop looking for a flaw in your design. Loneliness is not a failure of social skill. It is a symptom of a mind that operates at a frequency most environments simply cannot match yet. You are not broken. You are just calibrated differently. When you feel that urge to retreat, it is your intellect demanding the space it needs to function. Do not apologize for your depth. Do not force yourself to dilute your thoughts just to fit into a room that feels too small for your ideas. You are here because your mind recognized itself in these words. You were looking for an explanation, and you found a mirror. This is the core of what we do here at Axiom Pulse. Subscribe. Axel has much more to reveal about the hidden architecture of your mind. We return now to the coffee shop where this journey began. The city lights outside the window are still blurring into streaks of gold and violet, but the atmosphere has shifted. The person sits in the same chair, yet the tension that once defined their posture has evaporated. They are no longer just enduring the surrounding chaos. They are existing entirely within their own rhythm. Watch the way they hold their cup, the slow, deliberate movement as they gaze out at the street. There is no restlessness here. Anchored, they form an island serene amidst urban chaos. This is the ultimate goal of understanding your own psychology. To reach a state where solitude is not a refuge you run to, but a home you carry with you. You have seen the patterns. You have recognized the depth of your own mind, and now you see the peace that follows. That is the promise of AXIOM PULSE. We do not just analyze the mind, we help you find comfort in the way it works. If you are ready to continue exploring the hidden architecture of your own identity, join us. Subscribe to the channel. There's much more to uncover, and we will be here, waiting in the quiet, whenever you are ready to look deeper. See you in the next one.